Well, it's another great day. This is Dr. Willie Jolley, and I want to welcome you to the Jolly Good News Report. For this glorious Saturday, I am excited about another opportunity to be with you and share with you some ideas, some good news, something to lift your spirits, to help you be more successful, to help you win more. You know, you have only just a minute, only 60 seconds in it. Forced upon you, you can't refuse it. You didn't seek it, you didn't choose it, but it's up to you to use it. You must suffer. If you lose it, give account. If you abuse it, just a tiny little minute, but your eternities are wrapped up in it. So welcome to this minute of, and this moment of the Jolly Good News Report, a weekly life uplifting, encouraging, good news show designed to help you to win. In a time of bad news, sad news, depressing news, you need some good news. So that's why I started the Jolly Good News Report that we put out every week for you. And I want to thank you for what you've done to make this something that more people know about it. So I ask you to do me the same favor I ask every week. I want you to start a watch party. Start a watch party. Then I want you to share it and like it and help others to know about it. So watch party, share, like. Watch party, share, like, okay? I'm gonna read a piece from my book, as I've been doing the last few weeks, that I really love this piece. From my book, It Only Takes a Minute to Change Your Life. Once upon a time, there was an auction of what was considered old junk. The auctioneer came to a old violin, very old violin, worn violin, weary-looking violin. The auctioneer picked up the violin and plucked the string, which were painfully out of tune. He looked at the old dirty violin, frowned, and unenthusiastically started the pricing at it. $5. Anybody give $5? No one said anything. He said, okay, not $5, no response. He said, how about $4, $3, $2, down to 50 cents. He was down to 50 cents. He said 50 cents, just 50 cents. I know it's not worth much, but somebody can take it for 50 cents. Right at that moment, an old man with a gray beard and gray hair walked up to the front and asked if he could hold the violin. The old man took out his handkerchief. He took out his handkerchief and wiped the violin off. He wiped the dust and dirt off the violin. He slowly plucked the strings and meticulously tuned each string. Then he placed the old violin under his chin, took the bow, and started to play. And from that old violin came some of the most beautiful music that many people had ever heard. Beautiful songs and melodies came from that old, beaten up, dusty, dirty violin. Then the auctioneer asked again, what was the opening price? One person said $100, and another said $200. And then it rose and it rose, and it finally sold for $5,000. $5,000 for an old beat-up violin, and no one wanted to buy for 50 cents. The story shows that little can become much when you place it in the master's hand. I love that story. And I want to encourage you, if you don't have any of my resources, they're designed. I put them here because I want you to see what I work on, what I've created, and why I've done it. That's what I want to talk about, is why. Over the years, that was my first book, and my second book, my third book, my fourth book, my fifth book. We got a couple more coming, because I painfully, meticulously decided each word that goes in those books is designed to inspire somebody else, to encourage somebody, to lift their spirits, and to let them know that they have value, that there's something in their life, that they've got a call on their life. They've got a mission. They've got a purpose. And this is why I wrote the books, just to inspire people to not let the circumstances of life limit your possibilities. So if you don't have any of the books, get some. If you already got them, get another package of them and give them to friends and family members and people in your network who are struggling. We actually have if you go to williejolly.com or wjspeaks.com/success, wjspeaks.com/success. You can get the whole group of books, and we throw in a free one when you buy 5. So we want to encourage people. That's why we're doing this. We want to encourage you, and we want to uplift those who are watching, because many of you I know have businesses, or you have organizations you work for, and it's been challenging. And so you need encouragement to be inspired to know that you can turn this setback into a comeback, and turn that comeback into some greenbacks. How many know about that? So please feel free to order some of those and get them. The coronavirus stat of the week. You know, every week I give you the latest, greatest stat of the coronavirus crisis. Now, if you're looking for how many people got infected, no, I don't tell you that. How many people died? I definitely don't tell you that. My stat of the week every week is how many people recovered. How many people recover and at home with their families, celebrating life. That's good news. That's good news. That's good news. So the good news stat of the week for how many people have recovered from the coronavirus crisis and from coronavirus around the world. Here we go. 7,500,000 people. We've jumped 1 million people since last time we talked about it. 1 million people, because people are now recovering because of new medications and new opportunities. And a lot of people are learning about the power of that positive mindset as well. So I want to celebrate my friend, the great Pastor Paul Sadler, whose son, Paul Jr., got the virus and got very, very ill. But because of that new technology, the new medications, he's home with his family. So we want to celebrate that. Good news. Well, I hope you had a wonderful holiday. The 4th of July was recently passed, and I hope you had a great 4th of July. I want to thank all of you who sent the wonderful messages to me about the fact that you were so excited as you listened to the interview I did that I posted on my SiriusXM show, and is now gone to podcast with me, Dr. Dennis Kimbrough, the great author and educator, and the great motivator, Les Brown, the 3 of us on my SiriusXM show, talking about the coronavirus crisis and the George Floyd murder, and how we are to handle, to respond, to look at this from our perspectives, and how we want to encourage others to do it. What an incredible show. And so many have said one of the best shows I've ever done. And I've gotten great shows over the years, but this is one of the best. So it's available on my podcasts this week. It's going to my podcast, but you can still listen to it on SiriusXM channel 141. It airs today at 4 o'clock today, p.m., 141, and then it re-airs Monday morning, Tuesday evening, 6, and Wednesday morning. We're going to do it another week because so many people said they missed it, they want to hear it, they heard about it, somebody told them about it, so we're going to air it again this week. So listen to that. And I also said last week, we're in the midst of a revolution. Now, the American country was built out of revolution. And some of you saw the movie, maybe Hamilton, and talks about that whole revolutionary time. But we're in a revolution now that I think in 100 years or 200 years, people will talk about what happened here in 2020. It was a pandemic, but it was also a time of social upheaval and revolution, where people were saying that it is time for change, and that this country, in order to become all it could be and can be, we need to seek a equal justice under the law for all of its citizens, not some of its citizens, not a few of its citizens, not a portion, but each and every one of its citizens should have equal justice under the law and be treated equally and with respect. And that is where we are now. And this is a watershed moment. This is a reckoning where America is going to live up to the ideals that it was founded on. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. It's this time. So this week, we are encouraging you to continue to share with your neighbors, your friends, your family members, that it is important that Black lives matter. Not that other lives don't matter, not that somebody else, that it only matters, but that Black lives do matter. That is true. General Powell, Colin Powell, even was talking about it this week on an interview that was very well publicized. And he said, Black lives do matter. You got to understand that it's important for Black families to know that when they send their children out to go to school, to take a walk, to go to the grocery store, that they'll come back home and not be killed for no reason, for foolishness. So whether it's getting killed by police or even by somebody who is in the neighborhood, we want to stop all the killing, all the unequal justice, and as well as stop the killing of others. So we got to say, we got to talk up, we got to speak up. Silence is violence. So I'm saying to everybody, Black Lives Matter. Make a point to talk to everybody you can who can be influenced. And I told the story, I think, last week, and I'm so excited about it. I have a coaching client, and he heard me speak at a corporate event. He contacted me and said, I want to be a better communicator, and I need your help. I want to pay you to coach me to become a better communicator, as well as ideas I have on books and growing another enterprise, and I want your counsel. So we talk about business during our coaching sessions, but a few weeks ago, he called and said, I need to talk to you today on something different. If you don't mind, I'll pay you for this time. I'm white, I'm conservative, I am a supporter of Donald Trump. You're Black, I don't know your political position, but I want to talk to you because I know you'll be a straight shooter with me about what do I do? How do I handle this racial issue? I'm in Missouri, and some of my white friends will come up to me and say, look at what those N words have done, how the rioting and all of this protesting. And he said, I feel uncomfortable, but what do I do? And we had a coaching session where I told him, one, that it was important for him when people say ugly words about Black people, that he must not just say, oh, I understand, but say, no, that's wrong to say that. Be an advocate, say that's wrong. And part of the reason why this social upheaval is happening is because people have disrespected people who look different from them for so long that there is now this anger. So he said, I'll do that. And then I said, understand Black Lives Matter. He said, don't all lives matter? And I said, yeah, they do. Of course they do. He said, don't blue lives matter? Of course they do. I applaud our police officers. But here's the case, as I said before. If you were in a row of homes, and one of them was set afire by an arsonist, and you saw the arsonist running away, and you knew that fire had been set and created, and you knew that house was on fire, what would you do? Would you call the fire department? Yes. He said, yes. And I said, when the fire department got there, would you expect them to put water on all the homes? He said, no. What would they do? They put water on a house that was on fire. Well, this is now a reckoning moment where we see that people have been stopped for no reason, pulled over for no reason. How many times have we seen our community, Black community, have to tell their kids, give the kids to talk? I had to give my son to talk. And every Black family, every Black father and mother I know have to have the talk with their child about what to do when the cop pulls you over. Put both hands on the steering wheel. Roll down the window, say, officer, what do you want me to do next? And don't move till they tell you. And I shared that in an open forum with a meeting with him and with others, and all the white folks I talked to said, I've never had to give that talk to my children. Never even thought of it. So I'm saying to him that message. And then I told him about all lives matter, yes, but you put the water on that house that is burning down. He said, I got it. He sent me an audio message about 2 weeks later, of a talk he gave to an all-white audience. He shared with an all-white audience. And he said, one of my mentors told me that heart, H-E-A-R-T, heart work is hard work. He said, I want to thank Dr. Jolley for telling me heart work. Getting my heart right is hard work, but it has worked. And now I want to proclaim to all of you in this room, he said, that Black lives matter. Black lives do matter. And if we're going to be the country we were designed to be and created to be, we have to make sure every life, particularly our Black brothers and sisters, the people in our community, their lives matter. Wow. I was so moved by that. So I want to thank him. Now, the good news story of the week. Speaking about 4th of July, an Afghan translator who spent 12 years risking his life to assist U.S. forces in Afghanistan just celebrated his first 4th of July as a U.S. citizen. His duties as a translator never required it, but Janice Shinwari, S-H-I-N-W-A-R-I, saved the lives of several American soldiers, and one of them decided to return the favor by offering to bring Shinwari and his family to the U.S. If he had stayed in Afghanistan, the translator would not be alive today. He was told, he was named a CNN hero, and Shinwari was aiding U.S. forces over a decade because he wanted his country liberated from the terror of the Taliban. Although he knew he was risking his life, he did what he thought was right for his country. And in 2008, Captain Matt Zeller was about to die during a battle with Taliban forces until a man who identified himself as a U.S. translator dragged him out of harm's way. And they would create a bond, and an unshakable bond, and become like brothers. And so that is who went to work to try and get him here. It was a long struggle, but and the way I knew about this story, this is interesting how I knew about this story. I was out for a walk in my neighborhood, and it was a big sign of a family, African-American family, 2 little children. They had a big sign that said, if you want some good news, look here. Of course, you know, that drew me to the sign. It was in big letters, and I got to say, check out the story of Janice Shinwari. It is a good news story that will bless you. And the 2 of them, Shinwari and Captain Zeller, created a foundation called No One Left Behind. Oh, it's a fantastic story. Go check it out for yourself. Another story, while I'm thinking about Army stories, Army veteran Christopher Buckley used to be a leader in the Ku Klux Klan, but he was awakened by having a conversation with a friend who had also had a transformation. And that friend, a white friend, said to him, the way we've been thinking is wrong. And if we really love America, we're going to love all of America, all of the people in America. And the way we create that love is to realize that this hatred for others is doing more harm to us than it is to them. You know, it's been said that hatred and bitterness does more damage to the container it's held in than to those who it is focused against. And so Buckley, Army veteran Buckley, who was part of the Ku Klux Klan, had developed his racist attitudes as a child. And he hated Muslims and Black people. Upon returning to Walker County, Georgia, he became part of the KKK, but he was befriended by Arnold Michaels. And he shared that hatred was hurting him, killing him. And they became friends. Michaels was formerly a skinhead, a racist skinhead group. And he said he changed, and they started a program called Parents for Peace. And now they're helping others to learn that hatred is more destructive for the container or the person holding it than that which is what it is pushed or focused on. And they are helping people get past racism so that they can see what's possible for their future. What a great story. So I love that. Now I'm gonna give you another story. Good news is really God news, and God news is really good news. Tell you about, as I talked about the violin earlier, about it's amazing what will happen when you place it in the master's hand. I want to talk about the story of Gideon in the Bible. Great good news story. It's a great, and one that you don't hear a lot about. Now, Gideon really is an underdog. And when I was growing up, there was a cartoon, not a movie, but a cartoon called the Underdog cartoon. And Underdog is an American animated television series that ran in the 1960s to the 1970s, and it was sponsored by General Mills. And it is the story of a shoeshine boy's heroic alter ego, Underdog. And he would always come to the rescue of his love interest, Sweet Polly. And he said, there is no need to fear. Underdog is here. Well, as we talk about Gideon, great story. Now, Gideon is an underdog. God loves underdog stories. Gideon is a great underdog story. And the unlikely hero wins in the end. And I think this will encourage you, because you might be feeling like, well, you know what, there's no hope for me. It's like when the unranked college teams upsets the highly ranked team, and the fans all storm the court. Gideon is a perfect example of the underdog that God often chooses to lift and show that God is still in charge. It's in the Bible, and it's when the voice of the Lord came to Gideon and said, the Lord is with you, O mighty man of valor. And this came to a time when Israel had fallen into tough times because of disobedience, and the Midianites were overwhelming the Israelites. Every time the Israelites would plant a crop or get a crop of food, the Midianites would come in, take the food, take their crop, take their animals, and leave them with nothing. And so Gideon, though, was afraid initially. He was hiding. And he said, you want me? And God said, yes. He said, I want you. And he said, go in this might of yours and save Israel from the hand of Midian. And Gideon didn't know if he could. He was the least of his clan. He was what would be called the run of the litter. He was hiding when the angel of the Lord approached him and said, "O mighty man of valor, go in this might of yours." Now, you might think that Gideon might look around and say, "Who are you talking to? Who are you looking at?" He said, "I'm talking to you, Gideon. You were chosen." And Gideon had 10,000 troops. 1,000 troops, 300 troops compared to the 135,000 Midianites. But Gideon, his 300, surrounded them one night with lanterns. And because of the power of God, frightened the 135,000 with the 300, and they retreated. God can do great things with you when you place it in the master's hand. Amazing things could come as a result of that. And so what are the goals and dreams? How many of you have goals and dreams you want to achieve? What's stopping you? A pandemic? We're setting our goals. This is the second half of the year, just started. July the 1st started the second half of the year. So we as an organization, we as a team, and me personally, Dee and I, my wife, we pulled out our goals. And we know that things have changed from when we set them beginning of the year. We had a big goal-setting seminar that was the first time we ever recorded it. It's available, by the way. You can go get access to it at williejolley.com/goals, GOALS. But Dee and I, we did our goals with those folks who were part of the seminar. Some were live and some were virtual all over. We didn't know then that the world was going to become virtual. We just wanted to have access to our friends in Australia and New Zealand and South Africa who wanted to be a part of it and couldn't physically get there. So we put it on video and we made it available to them, and they took advantage of it. Well, many of them, including Dee and I, set our goals and we worked on our goals. But then that was January. February was great. Things were going good, chunking ahead, making progress. And then March hit, coronavirus hit. April, May, then June, George Floyd got killed the end of May. And then you add pandemic, economic downturn, job loss, George Floyd gets killed, racial strife, social upheaval, and all of it's coming. And that has an impact on how you will handle your goals. So we are recommending you pull your goals out and make adjustments. Remind yourself where you plan to go. This still can be one of the best years you've ever had. I believe that. You just gotta recalibrate. Okay, recalibrate. Know that God can do mighty things when it's placed in the master's hand. So are you ready to make this an incredible year? Then if you haven't set your goals, go get that williejolly.com/goals, williejolly.com/goals. Get that goal setting seminar, go through it, and then do what you set to do. Look, I've only got a couple more minutes. Many of you might have heard last week that I'm very grateful now that we have been contacted by Livestream Television, who has said, we want to put you up on our platform. Livestream is now going to be putting up these shows on their platform so we can continue to grow it. And so I want to offer you also the opportunity to partner with us as we take it to new audiences. And I'm very grateful to Dave Stewart and the Stewart Foundation, who made a significant donation this week to Jolley Good News. And so I want to thank Dave Stewart and his foundation, his family foundation, for making that donation. It was well received and we were blessed by it. Anybody else who wants to partner with us, wants to make a donation, you just go to jollygoodnews.org, jollygoodnews.org. Whatever you want to donate, we are grateful for it. We don't make any, you don't have to have a 5-figure like Dave Stewart, but you make a donation, whatever it is. We are grateful because it'll help us to continue to do the work of getting the good news out to the world. Look, our time is up because we promised Livestream we're going to keep it at a certain time so they can air it every week. Did you enjoy this week? Remember, as you place it in the master's hand, what might look like a beat up goal, a beat up dream, a dusty dream, really has great potential for your future. You just got to believe it and know that God is not through. Be the underdog. Have no fear. Underdog is here. You'll be the one who will be there and will make great things happen. This is Dr. Willie Jolley on the Jolley Good News Report. You have only just a minute, only 60 seconds in it, forced upon you. You can't refuse it. You didn't seek it. You didn't choose it, but it's up to you to use it. You must suffer if you lose it. Give account if you abuse it. Just a tiny little minute, but your eternities are wrapped up in it. God bless you. Have a great week on purpose. And remember, for sure, your best is yet to come. God bless you. Bye-bye.